Llamaland, a game for 2 to 4 players where you build lands, you place llamas on them, you also collect potatoes, corn, cacao, so basically, the finest things in life. And you do all that by stacking and placing polyominoes, so who doesn't love those? It's a family game, definitely, that you could play with young players. Actually, that's how I played it. I played it with 2 players and with 3 players, playing it sometimes with only one of my daughters and sometimes with both of my kids. And we had a good time. So right there, spoiler alert. But it is a game that has enough thinking that would make it a game that I think would also work a game night with your adult friends. Each player has a starting board, such as this one, with different kinds of symbols. We have a set of scoring tokens, super important because at the beginning of the game, you will shuffle different decks of cards and then you will draw a number of them that will identify what scores special points in this game. Also, during the game, you will take actions and you will place your tokens in open slots on these cards. And of course, you will want to place them on things that you think you'll be able to score, and you want to place them in the best position. So if I am able to place one of my tokens there, and I do have 4 llamas of the corn type, of the corn suit at the end of the game, I will score 15 points. If somebody placed a token there already, but I think I can score that thing, then maybe I'll be stuck placing it there, and so that will only be worth 12. So you have a set of scoring tokens, and during the game you will spend actions to place them in the best possible positions of the categories that you think you will be able to score. Also, we have Llama Cards. Llama Cards, again, with 3 types, the cacao type, the corn type, and the potato type. You shuffle each deck separately, and then you select a number of them and you place them in ascending order of values. You can see they have different values, so it will look like something like this. And yes, I would say the game can take up a little bit of space on the table, so it will look something like this. So interesting enough, it may be that as you shuffle it, corn will be worth a lot in this game, and because maybe these cards are not be part of this line. The scoring line does not include all of the cards of that type. Of another suit, there will be a lot of value and then a lot of less valuable cards because the ones in between are not part of the scoring line. And this one maybe has consistently lower value. So a lot of replay value, a lot of variety there. This being said, we are ready to start the game, and the players will alternate taking turns, and turns are pretty simple. When it is your turn, you choose one of the tiles on top of its own stack, so any shape, but you gotta take the one on top. Ta-da! Suppose I decide this one, that I wanna take this one, and I add it to my little llama kingdom here. I can add it next to my original board, or later next to tiles that are already there. Basically, I can add the new tile directly on the playing surface that the original board is on. If you do so, if you are extending your kingdom, that is when, then after doing that, you can take one of your scoring tiles and place it on one of these cards, or again, as a bonus or a connected action after extending your kingdom, you can take one of your tokens and move it to another scoring card. And you can only have a token on each of these cards. So that's for the extending action, which is take a tile and place it next, place directly on the play surface next to your kingdom. Or you can place the new tile on top of your existing kingdom, and pretty much in a way that makes sense. It has to follow the grid. The parts that stick out are not allowed because they don't look nice, but you do have some tiles that you can place there. It's a limited supply, so that you can extend your kingdom in a way that does not extend over empty spaces, because that would make it very unstable. After you place a tile over your existing kingdom, you collect token and resources based on what you cover. Say, if I place it there, I take a cacao, a coin, and a corn, and I take the corresponding tokens. These tokens are really good quality cardboard tokens, super thick, just the way I like my cardboard tokens. And so you will have your supply, your collection of things as the game progresses. Also, as the game progresses, there will be llamas that will be inhabiting your area, and just don't drop things on top of llamas because that would be unpleasant. Also, it is not allowed. So, extend your kingdom to place tokens on the scoring cards, or add to your kingdom, covering previously placed stuff, in which case you collect new tokens. Either way, then you also have the option of acquiring llamas. To acquire a llama, you need to spend 4 tokens of the corresponding type. So this one will take 4 cacao seeds, this one will take 4 potatoes, and so on and so forth. You can also spend 2 coins to replace any other token. So for example, I could take this one here by spending 3 corn and 2 coins. So when you acquire a llama, you take the corresponding card, you add it to your personal supply, that lowers the value of the remaining llamas of that kind. You also take one of these llamas and you add it to any empty space in your personal area. This will make it more challenging to add more things because, remember, you can't squish them. And also it will allow you to score because the positions of the llama on the board is the basis of scoring cards of this kind. For example, here you get to score points if you have a token here, if there are llamas adjacent to one another. Here, if you have 2 llamas on level 5, 3 llamas on level 3, llamas in different levels, and so on and so forth. So this would be the general idea. I think one thing I forgot to mention, these character cards that will give you special powers and abilities. There may also be cards that let you score if you have a number of these characters here, and you acquire a character by covering the village space on your board when you add new tiles. So this is the idea. Each turn you take a new tile, you place it next to your board or adjacent to the board on the playing surface with the option of then moving tokens, or you add on top of what you already have, collecting your resources, and then either thing you did, you get a chance of spending resources to acquire llama cards that also result in adorable llama meeples, and you continue like this until only one type of llama cards have been left. That triggers the end of the game. At that point you score points, and they will come from the llama cards that you have that you're collected here. Also, some tokens that are left here will score points. Plus, you look at the scoring tokens and see if you meet the condition to score them. Add points from all of those sources, and at the point the player with the highest score wins the game. I certainly like this game. I like how you have the tactics and the strategy that are working together at the same time. You have to keep an eye on both, on the short term and the long term, in a package, in a system that is very playable, very simple, and it's a true family game. You can play it with young players and they will not have any problem understanding the idea of adding a tile next to the main board or on top of something else, and don't squish the llamas. Those are very intuitive things. I think they teach them in school these days. So, true family game with a lot of nice, interesting decisions. The timing, for example, of the actions is very interesting. The fact that collecting those llama cards, the good ones, are gonna be gone at some point, but some kinds are gonna be gone faster than others because of the random distribution of llama cards in each suit. Some are more valuable than others, and so you have a lot of variety there, and I like that quite a bit. As for the puzzle element, the spatial puzzle, it's also interesting to me because the pieces are not the pieces that I expected. Where's the L? I'm thinking, where's the square? I played a lot of Tetris and a lot of games based on Tetris. This has to be maybe the first one doesn't have DL. So it's a little more intricate than usual, and sometimes after you play the games about stacking tiles with different shapes, you think, okay, I'm placing these two so they can play the square and the L on top of it, and you realize that those pieces are not there. So you gotta have to do a little bit of more lateral thinking than in other games where you stack tiles than I played in the past. The scoring system, when it comes to those llama cards that you collect, and again, their value decreases and different suits decrease at different rates. I like that. I have a little bit of mixed feelings about the system, the other part of the scoring system, where you reserve your slots early on. And that may be the only negative, or the only thing of the game that I don't like so much, the only weak spot that I see there, at least to my taste and in my opinion. Because that introduces almost a lack element that just feels foreign to a game that is otherwise so tight and it's so much about planning and calculating and optimizing things. Because early on you really have no idea. There's really no way for anybody to know if by the end of the game you'll be able to collect those cards or those other cards. Or you'll be able to place those llamas in those configurations. I'll say actually that's probably the biggest random element. Because, well, if I really want to get that corn there, I want to get the corn, then I'll specialize in collecting that. True, I committed early on, and so maybe other players will want to collect those cards. So on top of getting good cards, they are preventing me from scoring that thing. But when it comes to the llama things, will I be able to place 5 llamas in that situation, that condition? It's really hard to know early on. And so sometimes it just happens that you gamble a bit, and you'll find that some players will be able to score pretty big based on what they happen to be able to pull off. So it's a game that does have that solo element in which I'm developing my thing, you're developing yours. But again, because of those things, there's an element of indirect interaction. Although that interaction is mainly negative. It's mainly I'm trying to get in the way, I'm trying to steal stuff from you, to clog scoring options from you. So that scoring element, again, it brings a little bit of the kind of energy that I don't necessarily want in a game that is so clean and tight and nice, and it's about planting potatoes and raising llamas. It brings the weird energy, and plus, again, there's just something about it that is not my favorite thing. I almost wonder if, I don't know, I could try to play without it, just with the llama scoring cards and figuring out other ways of scoring, or just have it that everybody scores everything else. Then I guess you wouldn't have a reward for placing things, for extending your land, but at some point you're still gonna do it because you gotta do it, because you can't stack things forever. So, I don't know, I almost feel like the option of those limited scoring that you're reserving it almost feels like it was added mainly to have a reward to the action of extending your land that otherwise feels a lot less exciting at a land and collect stuff. Because I collected stuff, I'm more likely to be able to add a llama that will give me may build a certain pattern for scoring. It's just a lot more fun when you add on top and you collect stuff and you spend stuff, of course. And some of the villagers, some of those powers seem pretty powerful, but everybody will have a chance of getting a lot of villagers during the game, so that is not something that I guess creates an imbalance. So overall, I like the spatial element, I like the set collection element, I like a lot the llama cards that are a limited resource. A little bit of mixed feelings for using tokens to select certain scoring options. But in general, Llamaland is a fun, really well-produced, nice-looking game with a lot of interesting elements and interesting things going on. It has a thinking element for sure, but it's not a brain burner. And as such, it is a game that definitely functions well as a true family game. Definitely, my family and I enjoyed Llamaland.